Well. I'm surprised I haven't even made a video about this guy yet. I'm probably smacking a hornet's nest, aren't I? Whatever, I don't care. So, today we're talking about a very interesting individual that honestly, well, like I said, I'm just genuinely surprised I haven't even made a video about yet. It's an individual that is pretty much right up my alley in terms of just genuinely fucking stupid people. But of course, not only is this man genuinely fucking stupid, but he's just completely fucking depraved in every single sense of the goddamn word. This is an individual that has engraved himself in so much fucking controversy when it comes to the commentary community, especially as of like over the past like half a year or so, that I'm genuinely surprised I haven't even made a video about this fucker earlier. But of course it was an anonymous friend of mine who pretty much reminded me of this man's existence, and we ended up making a video together covering a video of his. However, that's on fucking Rumble, and I'm not even sure how safe that site is, so yeah. But of course, if you haven't already guessed, and if you didn't bother to read the title of the video, today we're talking about the man, the myth, the meme, Shaun the fucking Legend, or fucking weeb shit. For the love of God, someone just fucking end me already. You know what, I'm already getting way too off fucking topic with this shit. Let's just call him Shaun from now on, because there's no way in hell I'm gonna be using that other fucking name, screw that shit. But Shaun the Legend is an individual that, well, I mean, the only thing that he is legendary for is being quite possibly one of the dumbest individuals that I think I've ever seen in quite some fucking time, and that is something that, at this point, I've said so many goddamn times, it's probably starting to lose its meaning, but I genuinely mean it in this fucking case. And today we're going to be covering a lot of the different things that Shaun has pretty much gotten himself into, as well as just picking apart this man on a fucking microscopic level. Because this man is pretty much just absolutely every single thing that pisses me off. And we're about to be getting into that very soon here. So without further ado, I present to you the... So Shaun the Legend is, well, he's an individual that exists, and that's about the nicest thing that I can even say about this fucko. Shaun the Legend is an individual who I pretty much have known about for quite a while, and what I find extremely funny is that so far, like, the first and only video that I would even consider to be even passable on his fucking channel is his video that he made 1 year ago about Under the Mayo, and that's literally it. That is so far his best video, and that is saying something. Any videos afterwards pretty much just went fucking downhill, and especially after he ended up going down a fucking pipeline, which, well, pretty much leads us into the first thing here. So, probably one of the bigger reasons as to why I'm even making a video about Shaun the Legend is mainly because of the fact that he is one of those absolutely fucking vile lollycon individuals. Now, for those of you who are lucky enough to have never heard the term lollycon and have no idea what it means, well, you have about 5 seconds to leave the video if you want to keep your innocence. Okay, the innocent ones have left? Okay, time for me to define this shit. Basically, a lollycon is an individual that pretty much really enjoys getting off to depictions of animated children in sexual situations. That is quite literally what it is. That is basically the definition. And of course, for those of you who didn't actually projectile vomit upon hearing the definition of this term, you're probably the strongest individual on the planet, and I'm scared of you. Now, of course, one of the main arguments that a lot of these kinds of idiots like to bring up is, of course, well, the fact that it's fictional. And here's the funny thing about that, it doesn't matter whether or not it's fictional, it's still creepy either way. Like, in my personal opinion, it is basically just, like, one step away from consuming the real thing, and, like, honestly, it's really only a matter of time before you start going after the real thing. I mean, just take a look at Yandere Dev. Like, he's pretty much, like, the most recent example that I can really think of a lollycon turned into an actual fucking groomer. But yes, Shaun the Legend is indeed one of these types of individuals, and is also one of the ardent defenders of another lollycon defender by the name of Revsesdesu, and let's put it this way, Revsesdesu is a completely different fucking beast entirely, and I'd probably be here for an hour going over all the things I fucking dislike about that idiot. But of course, considering the fact that Shaun is indeed one of these lollycons, you can pretty much take a wild fucking guess as to the mentality of Shaun himself. After all, it's pretty much well known, especially if you've been on the internet for long enough, that lollycons are by far some of the most disingenuous fucks you'll probably ever come across on the internet, and they are just genuinely some of the most vile individuals that you'll ever find. Literally, like, they quite literally have actually no genuine fucking arguments to try and, like, you know, prove that their consumption of this kind of content is actually, like, in any way good or not harmful in any fucking way. But here's the thing, when it comes to individuals like ShaunTheLegend, they end up going into a level of disingenuous that is just genuinely fucking, like, horrifying in a way. And, well, since we're on that, let's move into that topic. So, of course, Shaun, being one of these types of individuals, is pretty much someone who views anyone who, like, is against the consumption of, you know, lollycon-type material as, like, public fucking enemy number one. They will literally see anyone that just so happens to be critical of individuals who consume such content and will immediately view them as a second coming of Hitler. Like, they quite literally just will twist fucking absolutely goddamn anything that they could possibly ever think of in order to try and paint that person as the worst individual. Like, it is genuinely fucking hilarious to try and watch them try and do something, especially towards someone that they quite literally have nothing on. Probably one of the most prime examples, without actually going into some of the more egregious you know, points of dishonesty that Shaun is engaged in, especially recently, is of course Shaun's video about Mutahar a few months back. He apparently still has this fucking video up, and it's just, it is fucking bad. It is 20 minutes of pure fucking drivel. And he tries to take this particular clip of Mutahar way fucking out of context.
Look, I watch cartel death footage on Reddit all the time, okay? It's fucking
That's
weird.
healthy.
No, it's weird, Caleb. My psychologist has said it's weird.
I recommend it.
Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, I admit it's a little out there. But hey, I admit that. I know I'm watching shit that's ultra-violent. It's curiosity.
Now, of course, this is quite literally only one of the things that Shaun decides to bring up as a way to try and paint Mutahar as, like, some sort of terrible, like, degenerate person. But, of course, if you know literally anything about, like, Mutahar, and especially, like, his history on, like, YouTube and on the internet and whatnot, of course he's likely been on the internet long enough to have come across quite a lot of that fucking disturbing material. And, of course, since a lot of videos that he makes, especially some of his more recent ones, like, you know, going back, like, you know, a few months and whatnot, covering, you know, certain, like, material that is, like, in that realm of disturbing, it of course is only natural for Mutahar himself to pretty much come on and just kind of, like, I guess, hyperbolize this in a way where it's just kind of like he always seems to come across this stuff and ends up viewing it just out of morbid curiosity at this point. Like, if you just, like even without any context from the original clip itself, if you literally know anything about Mutahar's history from, like, you know, back in the early days of Mutahar leading up to now, you can pretty much already, like, pick apart this fucking argument like a goddamn surgeon. Like, it is very easy to pick this shit apart if you literally know anything about Mutahar. But of course, since Shaun is a lollycon, dishonesty is his bread and butter. But that's not the only case. In fact, that is one of, like, the more, like, egregious cases of dishonesty that he tries to use against Mutahar. Probably one of the more hilarious ones is where he tries to use, like a screenshot of, like, a clip video where this was the thumbnail, and one of the things that Mutahar brought up was, like, some sort of hentai video. By the way, editing sanity here. I went looking just a little bit farther into this, and of course, well, Shaun ends up, within that very video, he does, once again, end up shooting himself in the foot over this entire fucking point by showing off a screenshot of Mutahar, quite literally clarifying the clip in question on that clip's channel. Yeah, it was quite literally a clickbaited, you know, video and thumbnail and title and whatnot, because within that actual clip, Mutahar is actually going over just how fucked up that specific anime actually is, so... Yeah, Shaun, either way, your point doesn't fucking stand. Kind of funny that, isn't it? And the funnier part is that he tries to bring up the thumbnail of this particular clip as like a gotcha against like Mutahar, in a way to try and paint Mutahar as like some sort of like really fucking creepy person behind the scenes, when if you decide to even look up the clip channel that this fucking comes from, you can pretty much just look in the about section and immediately read that, well, guess what? It's not even affiliated with Mutahar in the first place. And Shaun even shows off a fucking tweet of Mutahar even confirming that he has no relation to the fucking clip channel whatsoever and has no control over the thumbnails that they decide to use for those clips. So, Shaun, even the screenshots that you decide to show off completely disprove whatever the fuck point you're even trying to make. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. What was your point exactly? Were you even trying to make a point, or were you just trying to grasp at as many fucking straws, to the point where you're, like, you're not even grasping at straws, you're just grasping at debris at this point. It just doesn't make sense. And of course, I could go into a lot more examples of Shaun's dishonesty, but that would require me to kind of go into some of the things that he's been trying to do recently. Oh wow, that's a perfect segue into the next... So, of course, Shaun, once again, being one of the amazing lollycon defenders, is an extremely fucking oversensitive pussy, to the point where even the most mild of criticism will cause him to play the victim and paint you as, like, some sort of Machiavellian supervillain. It's kind of fucking disturbing. Probably two of the most recent examples, and the two most relevant examples here, are, of course, the cases of Mythical and Brother Near 2.0. Now, of course, I'm not going to get too far into these cases. After all, I kind of want them to kind of speak for themselves, which is why I'm going to leave their own videos in the description below where they cover, like, their side of the entire thing. Brother Near's videos are a fucking lengthy watch, so I don't really expect you to, like, watch them all in one fucking sitting, but I mean, if you're dedicated enough, then go right ahead. And of course, Mythical's video, I mean, you can watch that one. It's a little bit shorter, but pretty much they kind of both went through the same thing. They pretty much criticized ShaunTheLegend in some way, shape, or form, whether it was publicly in the form of a YouTube video or a tweet. And of course, since they're decently large figures within the commentary space, ShaunTheLegend couldn't actually handle the heat whatsoever, and therefore decided to try and pull literally anything out of his ass in order to try and paint them as, like, the worst people on planet fucking Earth. Going as far as to try and take this screenshot completely out of context and trying to twist the words into something that they genuinely fucking aren't, when, funnily enough, Shaun has quite literally been known to do pretty much the exact same thing, except openly on Twitter, and it's like 10 times fucking worse.
No one gives a shit about your one follower account that sucks and swallows Mythical's gum. Quit tagging me and go get a life, you bottom feeder.
So, Shaun, care to explain this shit, or are you too much of a pussy to? I know you're probably going to somehow come across this video and try and paint me as a villain, and I can't wait to see how that's gonna work, because that's gonna be funny. But of course, once again, I'm not gonna go too far into their overall cases. Just the, brief overview is that Shaun is trying to make this entire narrative of both Brother Near and Mythical apparently being, like, these fucking, like, supervillain, like, child groomers or something along those lines, and he's trying to take literally anything he can out of context in order to try and paint them as villains. Once again, I'm going to leave their videos down in the description below, and you can watch them on your own time. I mainly wanted to briefly bring these cases up as, like, pretty much an example of some of the more egregious cases of dishonesty that have come from ShaunTheLegend, especially as of recently. But now, let's get on to the next section here. This one is once again going to be a relatively short one, as it's a little bit more petty in comparison to some of the previous ones, and it's kind of the main reason why I even decided to leave it as, like, the last part of the video anyways. And that is, of course, my own personal minor gripes when it actually comes to Shaun's overall content and how he even tries to handle literally fucking anything. First of all, ShaunTheLegend doesn't know how to edit for shit. He pretty much only knows how to do two fucking things, and that is, of course, the ability to record his own audio and the ability to overlay gameplay gameplay over his own audio. He apparently doesn't know how to actually, like, cut out any unnecessary pauses, unnecessary tangents, or literally anything that ends up, like, inflating the runtime of a lot of his videos whatsoever. I genuinely don't understand why he decides to do this, because overall, it just ends up making the videos even more pointless than they really already were. Like, dude, at least try to cut down your shit. At least learn how to edit. Like, honestly, the best way I can try and compare ShaunTheLegend's editing style is, like, if, like, Harmon Smith were to learn how to actually screen record gameplay footage and actually learned what a video editing software was and just kind of did the exact same thing. Like, that is quite literally the best way I can describe it. He is the Harmon Smith of lollycons. Like, that is... That's actually probably the best description I think I've ever come up with on this fucking channel. Holy shit. Number 2. Shaun's overall personality and voice when it comes to commentary is genuinely a goddamn snooze fest. Like, a good way to try and explain his overall tone when it actually comes to any of his commentary is, like, it's like he's trying to do, like, a Moist Critical impression, but without any of the charisma.
Way to find a video on this clip channel about Mutahar where he did a live stream talking about, like, hentai and stuff, and then he went on to talk about this freaking hentai right here called Dropout and talk about his experience when he was watching it.
Like, that's literally what it is. It's extremely fucking monotone, and of course, you know, that combined with the fact that he ends up doing a bunch of unnecessary pauses and going on unnecessary tangents, just overall makes a lot of his fucking videos genuinely fucking insufferable to even try and sit through for any longer than 30 seconds. It is painful to try and fucking watch. It's horrible. Number 3. The dude doesn't even have any fucking background music for any of his shit. Like, dude... If you want to at least try and spice up your fucking videos, at least try to put something in the background of your fucking, like, you know, commentary and whatnot, and also learn how to do audio balancing, because within your goddamn, like, Mutahar video, like, there was, like, weird fucking screaming in the background about, like, 2 minutes in.
He fucking meltdown all on Twitter with just, not even just the lollycons, but people in general rightfully calling him out for, honestly, just being into something really fucking just out there, man. Like,
I'm assuming that was probably your mother screaming at you to try and get you to do the fucking dishes. Like, I have no idea what in the hell any of that shit was, but dude, learn how to fucking work with audio and just learn how to edit in general, because this shit's fucking pathetic. So ShaunTheLegend is quite the fucking character, to put it very simply. An extremely disingenuous fuckwit that has no idea what the hell he's doing. His editing style pretty much matches his overall fucking IQ, and it's honestly just a fucking pain in the ass to even try and go through any of his goddamn content for more than 30 seconds. And of course I genuinely cannot understand the mentality of some of these kinds of people, especially when it comes to lollycons, because they are just extremely sensitive little bitches. Like, they are just genuinely funny to kind of watch them squirm and scream and try and twist literally anything to try and fit a fucking narrative. It is a hilarious fucking event to try and watch. But hey, Shaun, if you somehow come across this video, that's gonna be funny. But yeah, anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. That's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I don't have a joke for this video. But yeah, anyways, guys, this has been Sandy, and have yourselves a nice day.